mission here at Innovative BU is to help students become drivers of innovation, drivers or innovators in their careers, lives, and communities. And so extracurricular programs is one way that we do it. We also have an innovation and entrepreneurship minor. So if you're an undergrad and looking for a minor to add, innovation and entrepreneurship minor is like the second most popular minor here at BU. So consider it. It happens through Questrom, but there are lots of elective courses that you can take to support that minor as well. So I'm going to stop ranting, but if you have questions about what we do, I'll be around. We also have some student ambassadors in the front, and Megan is one. She has her hand up. But if you have just questions about what we do here, questions about our programs, feel free to stop us at some point throughout the night and ask questions. I'm going to pass it over to Jonathan, who is our entrepreneur in residence, and he'll share a lot about what he's doing.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys all so much for coming. As Nana mentioned, my name is Jonathan, one of the entrepreneurs in residence here at Innovative BU, and one of my biggest roles for how I guess contribute to the ecosystem here is how to merge the external Boston startup ecosystem with the university ecosystem. So this event is in an effort to kind of merge both scenes, introduce students to the more general Boston startup ecosystem, as well as bring in some external community members to engage as well. So yeah, a little bit of background on what Creators Founders is as well. Basically, this is one of our external community events for the semester. This is a community built up of content creators and startup founders with the goal of building social community, as well as to also facilitate collaboration between these two groups of people. So so what we're looking today, we do a lot of different types of events. We put on happy hours, dinners, and this is now our second panel event that we've hosted with the goal of just an education. We have an awesome community of creators and startup founders that have a lot to share and have a lot of experience in the space in influencer marketing. So we figured why not bring some of our esteemed community members to share some of their knowledge. And without further ado, I'll pass it off to Aaron, who's one of our moderators.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan and Nana, with the rest of the team here at Innovative BU. Obviously, we're really excited to be back here alongside some amazing members of our community. And I will let you guys kind of start off by introducing yourself, talking about what you do as a creator, as a founder, and maybe a little bit of your background and how you got started doing that.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Comstock. When I was 16 years old, I found out my dad was a spy. Yeah, I overheard it. He didn't tell me. And of course he didn't tell me because the first thing I did was tell the entire internet, obviously. And so I started growing my social media following in college, which was also the year I got a phone. I wasn't allowed to have technology. Dad, spy. And I grew a channel interviewing intelligence agents, and then when I moved to Washington, D.C. post-graduation, also created a separate channel for political comedy. I run both of those today, as well as my own political consulting firm for Democratic candidates who want to make a digital splash.
Hey everyone, I'm Joe Fenti. I'm a stand-up comedian, content creator. I got started because I worked at a corporate job right out of school, and I was very upset with it. So I started making jokes about working in corporate, and what turned into a little side project turned into a very big side project, and now my full-time job. And I've been full-time comedy and content for about 1.5 years now, and it's been fun.
Hi everybody, my name is McKenna Haz. I'm the founder of Seaav. We are a Boston-based ocean impact activewear company. And I actually started Seaav out of my dorm room in 2021. And my minor, funny enough, was actually entrepreneurship. So I'm excited to be here today and chat with you more about Seaav.
Amazing. I think we should get right into it because, you mentioned how you got started and kind of where you're at today, but bringing it back to the beginning, or maybe starting a little bit, as you started getting some momentum with content and a brand came in and you worked with a brand for the first time, what was that like? And I'm sure, Joe and Marina, you have some interesting experiences, to say the least, starting to work with brands as a content creator.
Sure. So when I was 18 years old, I got a phone. When I was 19, I had 1 million followers. And so I wasn't only new to influencing, I was new to social media and the internet. And so everything was very new to me. And I had 1 million followers, and I got my first brand deal, and I was so excited. And I negotiated it up to $75. And it was for these balls that you threw on the ceiling and they stuck, and you waited and they fell down. And it made my dad make this brand deal with me, and we're like, Spy's favorite toy. It got 1 million views for $75. Then I signed with management, and now my rate is not $75. And it's been able to, I haven't actually done full-time content creation. I tried to 2 weeks ago and then accidentally started my own political firm. But it's lucrative enough to definitely be able to do that once you build that following, foster that community, and charge over $75.
Yeah, my first one, it was like 3 months into making content. I had like 10,000 followers. It was for one of those like drinking games that's like a card deck, but it wasn't anything special. Yeah, it was like 150 bucks, forget what it was. And then, yeah, I know, it was dope. My friends were like, I can't believe you're doing this now.
And it's double my rate.
Big time. But yeah, what turned into just like, when I felt like it became, all right, if I want to do this, I got to make 2, 4, 6 videos a week. And then I would have like an ad every week. I'm like, oh, if I want to do an ad every week, I need to do 5 organic ones so that I can do ads in between without people thinking I'm a sellout. And I eclipsed my consulting salary at my corporate job like year 2, year 3 into making content. And once I started treating my corporate job like my side gig, I was like, I don't need to do this. I can just make hee-hee-ha-has and go on tour and do stand-up.
And when you guys were first, like, made your first video, right? Like, you picked up the phone for the first time, you're like, I'm gonna post this. Did you ever think, this is something that I can monetize, this is something that I have interest monetizing or working with brands and, creating an actual income out of?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, in college, I had 16 different majors. I don't think I knew anything. So I wasn't thinking about it at all. I wanted to work in politics, and I began working in politics. And honestly, what I wanted to use my channels for was to make political change. And so I had been like fostering my channels to use for election time and like specifically 2024 election. And it's just an added bonus that brands like to work with you if you have a lot of followers.
Your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I really started just because I wanted people to say I was funny. It was totally a self-validation thing through external means. And yeah, people just like to work with you when you can kind of shoehorn them into a sketch or whatever. And I just like to make stuff that makes me laugh, and I hope it makes other people laugh. That's kind of my goal.
And then, McKenna, on your side, when you first started Seaav, what was that process like, maybe working with the first influencer or content creator, or even creating content yourself as a founder and taking that leap?
Yeah, absolutely. In 2021, when we started Seaav, I actually started it with an ambassador program. So that was really big back then. I ran one simple paid advertisement on an Instagram story and paid $25 a week, and was able to get over 100 signups a week to our ambassador program. It was a really simple ad. It was like 50% off your first purchase. You get a 15% commission code, and then you make 15% on your purchase. And it was a beautiful image of our athleisure, and that turned into ambassadors across the country. During COVID, I moved from my dorm room back to Canada, and I was in my high school bedroom, and I was just building this collective of, mostly we were targeting yoga instructors, Pilates instructors in coastal communities between the ages of 18 to 30. And that has now evolved into our Make Waves community. We have over 150,000 followers there. We host social wellness events now, and basically we've taken that concept into a community lead model to modernize it to 2026. But that's how I first started with community leads. I would say from an influencer's perspective, we mostly work on a gifting capacity. However, we have worked on commission-based deals as well. And I'm happy to share a little bit more on that as well later.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's perfect. And I think something that will be really helpful context for the audience on both sides of this is understanding how do these deals actually work? Like, where does the deal, how does it hit your inbox as a creator, or how do you find a brand to work with if you're looking, to do outbound? And then also on the founder side and on the brand side, what do you look for when you're looking to work with influencers? Maybe let's start on the creator side and just walk us through like the actual process of procuring a brand deal, and then what that looks like from just the communication and then the deliverables and actual payment. Maria, do you want to start?
Sure. Joe will be more helpful on this because I have management, but and the only brand deal I did before management was those sticky balls. So, but how it works on the management side, I have 2 different managements, Undercurrent for my spy account and Gold Studios, which is a comedy creator collective for my comedy account. And the brands will reach out to my management studio, and honestly, they'll reach out for any of the creators under the umbrella. And what's so helpful with being with an agency is then we get pitched for almost every inbound deal. And so even if a brand isn't reaching out to work with Maria Comstock, maybe they're reaching out to work with Rachel Tokar. And they're like, wait, we have this other creator that might be perfect for you. And so I'll get a message in my little WhatsApp group from my management. It'll have a brief, I'll have a rate, I'll say if I want to do it or not. I personally love when I can hop on a call with the brand just to like really get aligned on what they actually want to see, what the values of the brand are, etc. There's a couple rounds of edits and it goes live. It's usually such quick turnarounds. Like these are 3-day deals, which is so funny because like in the traditional marketing space, like an ad to produce takes weeks, if not months. And so they just expect creators to be able to, flip a switch and have the ad done, which we do. And Joe, I'm sure you've experienced the same thing.
I don't have management, so everything comes to me. I make it abundantly clear how brands can reach out to me. My email is in all of my profiles. It's in my link tree. It's kind of anywhere you can find me. You can find a way to contact me. And brands, people have reached out to me in LinkedIn DMs, Instagram DMs, my email. Any way that you can contact me is a way that you could work with me. And usually it's either the brand themselves or an agency that they've hired to reach out to me. And usually they have like a brief or a campaign that they're trying to have me fill. You go back and forth, figure out the timeline, figure out what is actually needing to be included. I've learned that it's way easier to write out a script and send them the script and say, hey, is this all the stuff that I can say? Is this allowed? And we go back and forth there so then I don't have to reshoot. But usually there's a reshoot anyway, and legal. But yeah, you just kind of go back and forth, figure out when you're good to post it, and then they pay you anywhere between like 30 to 90 days after. And that's kind of the game.
What are some of like the biggest lessons, I guess, and specifically, Joe, probably for you doing this by yourself, that you've learned over time? Because I'm sure there's been ups and downs through that process.
Yeah, read your contracts. That's the most important one. One of my first brands was with Pair Eyewear, and they had a clause in there that I didn't read that said if your video doesn't get a certain amount of engagement, I think it was like 100,000 views, I was on the hook to make another video for no additional compensation. And 2 weeks later, they hit me up like, hey Joe, where's the second video? I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, we need it. And I was on a work trip, like in my hotel room, like, I don't have any of my stuff to film with. What do you want me to do? They're like, we don't care, we need it by Friday. So I had to turn something around like in my hotel room that I was filming at like 1 in the morning because I was at work. So read your contracts, know what all of the terms mean. Like I found out what indemnity means, which essentially just means damages. And if there's an open indemnity, you could just be liable for millions of dollars. So learn what your contracts mean and actually look it up and send your red lines back to firms to say, hey, I only want indemnity up to what the value of the contract is. And most times like, oh yeah, we can do that. So just protect yourself, read your contracts, and know what you're actually obligated to do.
Did you have something?
I mean, again, I don't deal with my own contracts because I would lose millions of dollars. Absolutely, I would not read those lines. But I also work with a lot of like value-based organizations, and so I think the important part there is really look into who a brand is, because there are brands who will try and trick creators. During the election cycle, I got reach out from this brand that was like, not a brand, it's an organization. That's basically like, we'll pay you $36,000 if you post a video where it's a poll where people can figure out which third-party candidate they align with most. And I looked into it, and it was very dark money, funded by the RNC, back to try and get people to vote third-party instead of Democrat. And so look into the funders of organizations before you work with them, because it's easy to hide, and you don't want to sign a contract, have your management sign a contract, and be on the hook for something you're morally against.
And McKenna, on the brand side, right, what do you look for, like, when you're looking to work with creators? Because you're not just going to look for any influencer out there, right? How do you find ones that actually align with your brand?
Yeah, we definitely try to work with mostly focusing on ocean impact creators, or they live a coastal lifestyle. They support other sustainable brands. We definitely target more micro influencers, 20,000 to 30,000, I would say, on Instagram, TikTok. The coastal lifestyle, as soon as we've tapped into that audience more, that's really worked for us. Some of the larger influencers we have gifted and wear our products regularly and tag us, again, with no payment, but the $75, I mean, I would take you up with that if you still want to rate the deal. Like Ellie Rallo, and Michael May wears our products. Sophia Franklin. Sophia Franklin's worn our products for a while. This is a good example, I would say, actually. Started from a gifting capacity. She's coming out with a book soon. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she was like the co-podcaster on Call Her Daddy. But she's coming out with her book, Daddy Issues. So we felt like right now would be a good time to activate a partnership because she's organically been posting in our products a lot lately. So we are working through a deal right now, potentially, knock on wood, but for basically gifting her and her bachelorette party. But because we've worked with her the last couple of years on our organic gifting capacity, it would make sense for us now to activate a further partnership with her. And that's kind of how we're exploring most of our partnerships and how we speak to our content creators that do work with us. Like, let's grow together, post in our products, prove your worth, and let's grow together, and we'll activate something further in the future. That's typically how it's worked so far for us.
Yeah, Joe and Maria, have you ever found yourself in a similar situation where you love a product, or there's a product or a brand that you find yourself just using naturally and a fan of, and then they might reach out to you? I feel like that'd be kind of a dream.
Yeah, I was wearing I wear bird dogs all the time, and I did one of my sketches just in 2 bird dog shirts. It got sent to whoever their marketing person is, and said, they reached out to me like, oh, we didn't know you liked this stuff, you want more? And then I made more videos about them, and because I wear them, because I interact with them, the video I made for them, it didn't even feel like an ad. It was just, I forget the context of it, but like any dude entering his like mid-20s and just like picking a new hobby, like pickleball, running, drinking at a brewery, and I had a different outfit for each one that was all bird dogs, and it worked because I wear that stuff and it is who I am. I'm very much the bird dogs catalog. So yeah, if you make stuff about things you actually interact with and actually things that you like, it finds a way to get to the people who also interact or are a part of that stuff.
Yeah, when I was in Greece this summer, I posted a picture holding a Stella beer, and Stella reached out and sponsored my birthday party, and it was like the best time ever.
That's dope.
It was awesome.
You weren't a big fan of those glow-in-the-dark balls?
I'm honestly not even a big fan of Stella. It was the only beer on the island, but when they contacted me, I'm like, it's my favorite beer. Yeah.
That's awesome. And on top of that, I think, especially relevant to both of you as creators, in the comedy space, how important is it to leverage comedy and actually making people laugh when it comes to partnering with brands that understand that and want to allow you to be funny and be yourselves?
I think it's incredibly effective, especially having 2 different channels. Like, my comedy channel has just under 500,000, and my spy channel is just about 2 million. But my ads on my comedy channel always do better, almost always do better, because they're comedy and they're so much easier to flow into my natural content. I get this comment all the time of, I had no idea this was an ad. And to be fair, like I disclose, it says paid partnership, it says #ad, but it's just like the rest of our normal content. And so I find those ads do great. I've seen from the numbers I can see great ROI. I think comedy creators are a new untapped market for branding.
Yeah, just a thing people want to see. People want to be entertained. So if you can hide the advertisement in entertainment, it's just easier to send around to your friends and actually have people watch it because you want to know what's happening. But if I were to ever make a video that's like, "What's up, guys? Today I'm sponsored," people would just write it right out of it immediately. So comedy just works. It's a way to trick attention to what you want it to be toward.
And on the brand side, like, how would you say is the best way to find that happy medium of like conveying your brand's message? And you kind of touched on this earlier with working with partners that align with your mission and are kind of in the same space, but ensuring that the content is both effective and gets what you need it to do across, but also, you know, fits nicely within the content of the creators.
Yeah, I think it's really dependent on the full marketing campaign we're doing at the time. So for example, we're launching our home team collection soon, and it's very focused on our Boston green color. So we're specifically targeting micro-influencers in the Boston community to work with in the coastal lifestyle. Our campaign in May is, it's part 1 and part 2. We're doing a pink, I don't know if you guys know the poem, Pink Skies at Night, Sailors Delight, Pink Skies and More, and Sailors Be Warned. But part 1 is the Pink Skies campaign, and it's a lot of, the colorways are like strawberry cream, satin linen, storm gray. And the concept is a bunch of Boston ballet ballerinas at the beach. So we're focusing in on the storytelling of everybody was a dancer once in their lifetime. Pretty much everybody on our team was, at least. We all have our own little ballet photos. But basically we're showing, giggling at me, but showing the evolution of our community leads as professional dancers and then going into their careers later in life. But my point is we're focusing on mostly dancers for that campaign and to storytell. Going into the Sail Away collection, we're sharing the stories of basically 3 really kick-ass women. One is an oyster farmer, one is a professional sailor, and then the third is a fisher girl, or a fisherwoman, and they all have their own influence. So we are very honing in dependent on the campaign and the storytelling we want to do. So I would say that's how we mostly focus in.
Joe, I know you were a big dancer probably at one point in your life.
Dude, that's why I laughed. I had a big breakdancing phase in 8th grade. Oh, like head spins at every wedding now. So I'm good.
Maybe save it for the end. Have any of you guys, so you talk about McKenna, the gifting campaigns, you guys talk about more traditional campaigns. Maybe let's lay out what the type of ways to work with influencers are. And I think one that comes to mind that we're seeing more relevant now is equity deals. And I think that can be on a small scale with just affiliates, right? Because you're getting equity in what you actually sell, but then also actual business and company equity. Have any of you guys ever done that before? Or if you haven't, what are your overall thoughts on the upside as a founder, but also as a creator, and maybe why that would be attractive?
Have you done an equity deal?
I haven't done an equity deal. I'm pretty anti commission personally, just because it takes more time and I'm very busy. But I will say, working with creators, if you don't have the budget to dish out $10K for a video, I will, if there's an event and there's an open bar, I will be there. That is fine. Also working in politics, if Pete Buttigieg is there, I'll go. That's fine. Have someone important there or have free alcohol and you can get really big creators.
For clarity, an equity deal is very different than a commission deal. So an equity deal would actually mean you're earning ownership in a company. A commission deal would be you're getting commission based off of you're promoting the product, and then you're getting, let's just say 15% commission. So, for example, like Alex Earl and like Sip Margarita, that would have been an equity deal. So I would definitely consider it if the right influencer came along that has a massive following, ocean impact mission. When I was in college, I thought Camille Comstock would be like the perfect person to do an equity deal with. Now, the company's grown much larger, so I wouldn't consider that. So the answer is I would be open to it depending on the person and the timing. Depending on the person and the timing.
And what's like the upside that you see there? Like if there's a, you
Oh
know,
my gosh.
a
Building
Camille, right?
community. Building community. Definitely. Going to like a commission deal, I'll explain that a little bit because we worked with a lot of different influencers on our community event side of thing and gifting, and we love to work with influencers that come to our events, but also that they earn money from promoting the events in advance. So for example, I'll give an example of Hannah Matthews. She probably has like about 60,000 followers, mostly on TikTok. She posted one TikTok and she made $5 for every person that used her $5 off code. She drove 250 people to our event from one video. So that is just a creative way for a business to work with an influencer in a meaningful way.
Talk about the events a little bit more because I think that's been a really effective strategy for you. And I mean, that's an example of it working with influencers, but just overall for you, events, community building, kind of why you're so bullish and so, you know, focused on doing that for CxF.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. We hosted our Boston Winter Wellness Experience in the Seaport. Actually it turned into a 4-event series. It was supposed to be 3, but it was doing really well for us. We hosted over 1,500 people throughout November, December, January, and February. And the idea is to shop our collections in real life, but to move, connect, and to basically experience not only our products, but usually there's a Pilates class, a sound bath meditation involved. And usually we do our events a week or 2 weeks before our collection drop online. And that drives a bunch of people that are CxF customers to purchase it before the website drop. We also bring in other locally owned brands. We also work with a lot of different drink sponsors. This is a way, for example, I guess it's sort of another kind of brand deal if you are a startup founder that is building community as well. We work with Milk Organics, for example. They give out coffee at every single event, but that started from like a $4,000 deal of them paying our company for our summer series into a $6,000 deal this winter for our Boston Winter Wellness Experience into they're so happy with how many community members that are finding out about their brands through our brands that it's turning into another sponsorship this summer. So that's kind of another creative way for collaboration and with other larger scale brands that are partnering with young and up-and-coming brands.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good example of you're extremely active on social media, both yourself, but also through your brand, and essentially almost creating influence and that distribution with your brand, and obviously utilizing that for what you're building, but aligning when it aligns with other partners and other people, like it's kind of a win-win.
And I love Milk Organics too.
Do you guys as creators like have, because I would imagine we have a lot of student founders in here, you know, that's a great use case of that working where naturally you're creating content, you're building momentum, that community, that distribution there. Advice, I think, as you know, professionals and people who have done this and have done well with it, for a founder who might want to start posting, and obviously McKenna, I think you've good thoughts on this as well, but just like what they could be doing to achieve that.
I would say first, I definitely am not naturally wanting to post on social media, and I'm constantly head down to my computer, so it's been a lot of reframing lately on like this is my once in a lifetime opportunity to be showcasing the behind the scenes, and the content that does the best on our social media platforms is actually when I'm involved or our team members are involved, because our customers really want to join the journey with us and want to know the people behind the brands. And I think it's something that we've actually been, Aaron and Alex have been talking about a lot lately, is just showing the people of the brand, what everybody's doing every single day, the behind the scenes of a collection drop, the design process, what it actually takes to set up an event. And that content is so powerful. And then also interviewing the people that are customers of the brand. It's just showing the people. That is so, so valuable, especially in a world that is so AI right now. Human connection is so important, and I think people are really craving that right now. So having that highlighted in our social media content has really helped us scale it, and it's powerful.
And I'll say working with candidates who are kind of like their own founders of policy, sure. And they're building their social medias from zero, and a lot of these people are 73-year-old men, so they're difficult to work with, but they don't know how to use phones. Anyway, step one, know how to use a phone. But the biggest tip I give them is to really just like, so many people just don't think of social media as a top priority, when in this day and age, it should be your top priority. And so every candidate, before I work with them, I make them, I'm like, do you have 30 minutes a day to record? I will edit it, I will post it, that's fine, but like I need you to record it, because I need your face to be in front of the camera, and I need your audience to know like you care about fostering this community. And even as these candidates are building even smaller followings of like 400, 500, 600 followers, because they're posting every single day, their followers start engaging more and more and more, and you just see such exponential growth because they're daily fostering that community.
I did a 30-day day in the life series. It did not do great, I will say. I tried really hard, but I will say from that series, because I did reflect on it recently, I did, like, our first employee that came onto the company found Seaav through that series. So there was some more to it because she is freaking awesome.
Any thoughts on your side, Joe, for any founders out there?
Yeah, my thought on making content is the worst thing that happens if you make it, no one sees it. So take the shot, because who knows? You will get better at it over time. Like, I look at the videos I made 5.5, 6 years ago, and they're trash. Like, they're just bad. My eye line isn't consistent, I'm not projecting, my voice is muffled. Like, you'll get better and you'll figure out what works and what doesn't. And in terms of figuring out what do I want to make, think about what you watch. Make stuff you want to watch, make stuff you think people should care about, whether it's like the cause that you're driving or if you're trying to be entertaining, like what about your entertainment is speaking to people. Make stuff that you want to be seen and make stuff that should be seen, because everyone swipes through any video that's like, what's up guys, today I'm coming into Boston and you should see my show. No, that's nothing. But if it's like, I quit my job in corporate to do stand-up comedy and I'm going on tour, that's a bit more of a story. That's something more people can latch on to, as opposed to, I'm just another white guy comedian talking about my girlfriend. Like, that's nothing new.
I'm curious, do you guys feel the pressure to follow trends?
No, because I still view myself as a stand-up comedian first, which is not factually accurate based on everything, but I still like to think like, oh, I'm doing sketch comedy in the way that is fun for me. Yeah. So I don't really do trends. When I was starting out, I did, because they're a cheat code to get eyes on you, yeah. But now I'm just trying to write sketches that I like.
So, okay, you said it was a cheat code. So for somebody like wanting to be better at a content and get into content, do you think that they should follow trends?
It's an easy way to get your foot in the door. Like, the layout has been built for you. Like, do this action at this part of the song, or do this kind of thing when it happens. So, great. It's like done a lot of the hard work for you. Now it's just a matter of, all right, what is my take? What is making this interesting? Why am I doing it?
Yeah, I would say more importantly than like trends on social media is like following like I'm using political trends, but like pop culture trends, or like on my, like I'm talking about the war in Iran, like because that's top of mind. You know, I maybe don't talk about that on your channels, but rather than just like the trending audio, it's like the trending topic.
Makes sense.
Why do you ask that? Is there something?
No, I was just curious. I try to not put pressure on myself for doing that on our feed because we plan our feed out like a whole month in advance. But I do think that there is an authentic way to do it for certain trends. I don't have an exact example, but if you can authentically do it to your personal brand or my actual brand, like not every personal brand, business brands, there's authentic ways to do it that makes sense if it follows, for example, again for us, it's like ocean impact, sustainability, women-owned business, if it follows one of those.
Yeah,
And you're able to connect it, if you're able to connect it and it's a trend, it's like, boom, that's amazing content.
Yeah, and the trend can be so many different things. It could be as simple as a song choice, a font. It could be a Joe doing a dance to a certain song. But I mean, I think what we're seeing too, a lot of times with creators, founders, is the impact that as a founder, you can become a creator. And a lot of times, like sometimes it isn't that direct result, like you were mentioning, McKenna, where someone sees your video and they're like, oh, I want to come work for you. Like you probably never thought that that would happen from posting that video. Maybe you're like, oh, I'll get more sales, when like in reality you get something that's extremely valuable that you just weren't even thinking of. Let's flip it around now for someone out there maybe that isn't a founder but that is creative or has ideas or has something that they want to share. What would you guys say? And it's probably similar advice, but just thinking about it a little bit differently to someone that wants to grow as a creator themselves.
Find a lane that you have a lot to talk about. Even now, I've quit my corporate job a year ago. I'm still writing sketches in corporate comedy because it was my life. I lived it for 5.5 years. So I can still think about the situations to talk about. So whatever you're making content about for, it should be from a place of authenticity, from a place of ownership, because that's where you'll actually find the details, the funny, the whatever you're looking to talk about. Because if I were to make content about living in New York City, it's just going to be hacky stereotypes. But living in Boston, being in my late 20s, working corporate, those are all things that I've experienced and I am, so it's very easy to come up with things.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the trend thing, like, you're never going to build your own brand only doing trends. You need to find something that's, like, special about you or something you want to talk about, something special you know. Like, my biggest advice, honestly, is, like, go get drinks with someone you've never met, figure out what you're talking about there, and talk about it online. Because, like, that's your selling point. Use it online.
That's good advice.
That's really good. Lastly, what do you think, is next, like in influencer marketing, in, this wave of content creators becoming, an actual occupation and a career path, and then obviously that collaboration between brands and creators?
I personally think a lot of content creators are going to become founders. They're going to start their own businesses once they build a strong enough community, both virtually and in person. That's where I see the trend going, and we're already seeing that happening.
Yeah, it's becoming almost necessary to have a social media following at this point, which is kind of scary to see because you're seeing a lot of like that in Hollywood now, and you're like, oh no, now everyone's a bad actor, and you just have followers.
What do you mean by that exactly? Like you have to have a social media following?
Like I think I've been seeing it in the traditional media space, like a lot of like new news anchors and new actresses getting cast are just influencers, and like that's used as the marketing budget also. It's like we recruit this influencer and boom, we have 1 million people who are gonna watch our show now.
I've actually heard that in professional sports, specifically tennis. Like a lot of tennis players are chosen based off of their following.
I mean, that's definitely what it's like at comedy clubs now. Like, they don't even sniff headliners. Oh, shit. Dead battery. They don't even sniff headliners who have less than, like, 40K because they want to make sure you can sell tickets. And even, like, before, when I was touring, places would take gambles on me because, like, oh, he's got followers. I bet he can sell tickets without ever seeing my stand-up. Thank God I'm proficient at it, but... They just want to see, can you sell tickets, can you get attention, can you do whatever, and that's just kind of the way the world's turned into.
Awesome. I think we're going to open up the floor now for some questions. So Ian, right here, I can get, yeah.
Best one. There we go.
You guys are so very different. I appreciate your backgrounds. Like, you came from interest, you came from happenstance in your business. I think a lot of people have difficult time overcoming shame when they're putting themselves out. Like, how would you advise people to get over that?
Yeah, if you do it long enough, it just becomes your thing. And if you get successful at it, then it's really your thing. Like, early on, people were making fun of me for like wearing suits in my videos. Like, I can't believe you dressed up to make a silly little TikTok. And now I'm like, I don't have to ask for PTO because I'm my own boss. So just get through it, because eventually it becomes your thing, it becomes normal, and no one's gonna bat an eye at it.
Yeah, I mean, my boyfriend's theory of why I'm here today is I didn't have a phone until I was 18. The second I got a phone, I started content creation. And he very meanly likes to say, you didn't know it was embarrassing to post online. And so I didn't have that shame because I didn't know I was supposed to. And so, again, consistency is key, and just, you know, pretend you don't know it's embarrassing. And at this point, it really isn't. You know, everyone's a content creator, and it's a new career path. I mean, I bet there's kindergartners now at job fairs being like, where's the influencer booth? So.
Yeah, I feel like you'll just find out who your real friends are when you start posting. Yeah.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Or maybe to catch it. Oh yeah, we're gonna catch it. Gotta catch on the camera. Sorry.
So I work in a very niche, super niche industry. A lot of our customers are older people, like men in their 50s, 60s. And we are, I'm in the marketing team, I don't know if I said that already, but we're trying to get like influencers to work with us to appeal to more like young audiences, but like I said, it's a super niche industry, so none of the content comes naturally for anyone. And I feel like when you look at things online, it's super easy to know like what's not genuine, so it's like cringe and awkward. So I guess my question is, what's your advice for someone who's like in this type of industry, who's trying to break into it? Because a lot of the people in my team are just like, just don't do it. But I feel like there's like an untapped market there for us, and yeah, I just don't know what the right
I
way
feel
to
like
break into it.
I've seen like the most trending videos of like at the office, that stereotypical individual, and then the young marketing team coming in and doing goofy things. I feel like, oh my gosh, Culture Pop, the Boston-based brand, I feel like their content on TikTok is so good that their founder is, I don't know how old he is, but he's, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to, early 50s, I don't know. But they interview him and they do fun trends and they pop off. He's actually, I would consider him influential now. And we're definitely going to be gifting him our men's line when it comes in. Like that, like, it's hilarious. So I feel like there's, you could probably speak to like comedic ways to tap in. But I almost feel like there's also like that trend where it's like, this is someone's dad. I don't know, have you guys seen that trend? Yeah, I feel like there's creative ways to do it.
Again, repetitions will get you more proficient at like the social media side of things, because like you have the idea, you have what you want to talk about. Just take swings at trying to make it look the way you want to look, because eventually one will do what you want it to do. Double down on it, do it again, do it differently. Like the amount of times I've repackaged the same joke with like a different wrapping paper, it's all the time. So find what works and then just look how to repackage it, look how to make it a certain way, because you'll pick up what's working, what's not working in terms of like visual aesthetics. And as you start encountering problems that you actually have and questions you actually have, you'll start looking for that information and it'll actually stick, because it's a sense of understanding rather than how do I make it work? It's, oh, I want to make sure that I can do a slow zoom in editing. And then you learn about keyframes and then you actually get real knowledge from it. So take more swings. Worst thing that happens is no one sees it.
What's the company that you work for?
They do AI scheduling for radiology centers.
Oh boy.
It's very hard.
That's niche as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I'll think about it for you more.
Thank you.
Hi, all of you have been in content creation for over like several years. I'm pretty sure that would come with like a couple of creative slumps, or like periods where you're like, I don't know what to create. How do you kind of overcome that, and do you have any strategies specifically for young people who are trying to break into content creation?
I like guerrilla tactics. I'll leave my all technology at home, go to a coffee shop, and like I keep drinking coffee until I have an idea. And for comedy creation, that really works.
Yeah, putting yourself in situations that turn off certain parts of your brain. So like I always do physical exercise. Like whether I go for a run or lift weights, that's when I just watch my mind wander. Occasionally like reading a book of other comedians, like just seeing what they're talking about. I'm like, oh, do I have any experience in that? Just finding a way to get out of sitting behind your desk going, what am I gonna come up with? Because you can't come up with anything about just being frustrated. So put yourself in new situations. That's honestly where I get a lot of my jokes from, is just like going for a walk and seeing what I'm seeing.
I have a really creative team, so I would definitely suggest groupthink. Honestly, a lot of my team members will complete each other's ideas. They're like, oh my god, duh, that's how we're supposed to do that. So if you have a girlfriend or somebody that you go for coffee with and just chat through your ideas, they might be able to think through it with you.
Yeah, groupthink is huge. When I wrote for a satire paper, the editor-in-chief would just put like one thing on a whiteboard. It was like our fall edition. He was like, pumpkins, and we would just word association until we came up with like a joke that we like about it. We got to one, I don't know what the train of thought was, but it was like somehow from pumpkin to like fall to trying to get into shape before winter and then going to the sauna, and old man mistakes crowded senior party as sauna. So sometimes you just need to say stuff until you get to a creative place.
So, Maria, this might particularly apply to you as a political content creator, but I'd love to hear what all of you guys have to say. In this political atmosphere, there's a lot of, unsavory opinions, and sometimes brands might not like what you have to say. How do you balance staying true to what you believe in, sticking up for what is right, your morality, with staying brand friendly?
I have big thoughts on this because this is a problem on the left and not on the right. They just get all the brand deals. But after the 2024 election, I thank goodness I had a 9 to 5 because I didn't get brand deals for 6 months because I had turned fully into a political content creator. I was in battleground states every weekend for the campaign. And I lost $100,000 of brand deals like that. I'd be out on the street if I didn't have my normal campaign job. But that being said, don't let that scare you away from posting advocacy content because it's come back, and brands are realizing that political creators actually have a lot of influence and reach, and their audiences are very, very loyal. I will say I still lose brand deals due to it. I lost a huge one last month because I was speaking up about what ICE was doing in Minnesota, and this actually huge brand backed out and said their their budget was suddenly reallocated the day after I posted about ICE. It was crazy. But I don't know. You have a platform, and I think that comes with a responsibility to stand up for your values and advocate for people who don't have that voice. And so, yes, I'm going to lose that big brand deal, but then I don't want to work with that brand.
So I have 2 questions. For the 2 creators on the stage, I'm really curious how brands are structuring your deals in terms of ROAS targets or KPI, and how transparent are they communicating the actual result of what the creators are doing for their business. And then the second part to that question is, what is the least favorite like brief you've gotten or brand deal you've had to do that you absolutely hated, and why?
Yeah, the only way I've been able to see any metrics of like actual results is if it's like a commission-based thing. So I did a video for Jack Archer pants, and they gave me like a 15% off code. I got whatever, 10% of any commission I sold. So I could see, oh, I got like $200 this month. I sold $2,000 worth of pants. Cool, I'm actually doing something for them. On top of them getting like a down payment for actually just making the video. So that's when I can see performance, but otherwise brands don't usually share what they're seeing on the back end, aside from like views, shares, clicks, whatever. And in terms of any brief that is just too restrictive, that's ones I don't like, where like you have to make a video that's set in like a newsroom and you have to be doing this. I'm like, we're gonna just lose everyone's attention because I'm not allowed creativity here. The ones we like best, or at least I like best, are where it's like, just say these two things however you want to say them, go for it. And as long as you're not being rude, we'll take it. So if you give us the creativity, that's what we like. It's just when you start saying, it has to look like this, be like this, do this, that's where you're gonna get a video that doesn't perform.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Are most of your brand deals like, are they recurring or are they more one-time types of projects?
Oftentimes it starts as one time, and if it does well, they reach back out to you later. Yeah, very rarely are they like, we want to sign you for a year. It's kind of like, all right, can we get one good one out of you? All right, let's keep it going. So it's a way that I find fine. I always find it disingenuous when a brand is like, we want to build a long-standing relationship with you. Lowball, like that sucks. So I'd rather, let's say, let's just do one, see how it goes, and then maybe bring it back. And it also incentivizes me to work harder.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Maria?
Yeah, I mean, results-wise, I think just them coming back is a signifier of results. You know, I have a company that reaches out every 2 months. Like, just do a retainer deal. Like, we've done this like 6 times now. Also, there's like a little setting in your Instagram where you can see where they're boosting it to and the results of like external boosting. And so I love to sneak into their ad settings and see that. My least favorite ads, I completely agree. I mean, if they give me a script, I'm like, just buy an ad. Like, if you have a script, buy an ad. You don't need an influencer. You're using an influencer for their audience. And so I agree, just like 2 talking points. In politics, I appreciate like a background brief, just so I know about the topic. And then also just hopping on the phone with me is the biggest thing, so I can ask my questions, talk face-to-face, bounce ideas, see what the brand wants.
For sure. And in terms of like how the payment or how the contracts are negotiated and structured, are you typically looking at soft metrics like impressions, views, like the size of your audience? How is that negotiation, what leverage do you have as a creator to kind of use your audience and use your metrics in your advantage?
I think it's mostly engagement rather than follower count. I mean, I have a friend with 900,000 followers that gets like 300 views. And so it's definitely engagement. Also, a lot of companies nowadays have these like AI tools that will do like sentiment analysis on your accounts. And so that's also another reason like being a political creator is hard, because my comment sections are volatile. And so brands don't especially like that. And so there's a couple different tools brands will use to gauge whether they want to work with a creator. But overall, high engagement is going to be a good creator to work with.
Awesome, thank you. And then I have a question for you, McKenna. So you talked a lot about in-person events, which I'm also super bullish on and I have not yet ventured into. I'm curious how you, how are you actually budgeting for them? Like, are they included in your marketing budget? Do they show up on your P&L? Are you planning them every month? Do you have a set number per year, per month that you're doing? And also, how are you tracking the actual impact they have on your top line or your business growth as a whole?
That is a great question. We actually make all of our events hit at least a 50% gross profit. So that's our baseline. So whenever we're working with a venue, it's usually free or in return for marketing. And when we bring on additional partners, I brought up Milk Organics earlier, that helps us also generate another source of revenue. But we also include product in our ticketing model. So we have a GA and then our VIP and our VIP Plus, which includes typically, let's just say it's our new Boston Green set that's launching, and we'll include that legging and sports bra. So it helps us directly sell our products as well. But what was the second part to the question there?
How are you measuring the impact?
Okay, this is a great question too. Okay, I'm in the process of building a layer on our website because I want to understand more our lifetime value and our customer acquisition cost. And okay, if Sally Joe went to 2 of our events and got a sports bra, and then they go to our website a week later and brought the legging. Right now, we actually use Market AI as our platform, Jonathan's company, shout out. But his platform, we gotta work on this, doesn't communicate with our Shopify store. So our customer data right now currently it's an issue, it's messed up. Because we got to work on it. But it's because we have our Shopify store where our direct-to-consumers go to, so we're collecting Sally Joe email, phone number, and then through Market AI, we're collecting Sally Joe email, phone number, but those 2 systems don't communicate with each other, so it creates a whole issue that's disconnected. So it's something I'm actually currently solving as a business owner because that information is absolutely so valuable to our investors too, because they're like, okay, why the heck did you host 111 events last year? Well, if I had that information, I'd be able to prove that that's like such a strong flywheel for our brand, let alone all the user-generated content that's coming from it. The influencers, Maria said earlier, hey, like, probably wouldn't do a deal with you for $75, but I'd come to your event. Okay, now Maria with, I don't know how many followers you have, 2 million followers is coming to our event and is posting in Seaav. So there's so much value there, and I'm still trying to prove that to our investors too.
Are you finding that hard?
It was very hard at first. Not like I would love this data. We're gonna work on it to connect it, and I'll be able to prove it even more. I have basically gotten them so excited because we were able to host 1,500 people in the last 4 months through 4 events here in the city that I did get approval to go forward with community leads in 10 cities that we have a strong direct consumer following. And in the first 2 months of activating them in January and February, we were able to hit that gross profit of 50%. So it does make sense for us to continue activating in new cities and growing through community wellness event channel.
For sure. And second part was, how are you like doing a set number per month or year, and what generally is like the cost of these events?
General cost will be we're charging our community leads, we're paying our community leads $400 a month to put on an event. Their KPI, if we want to get super granular, is to generate at least $2,500 in ticket sales, and then they make commission off of additional sales at the event. Our larger scale events generate more than that typically, but that is the baseline for our community leads for it to be at that profitability that we need to see.